The birthday gift I never wanted. The invitation. On the morning of his 35th birthday, Malcolm Reed woke up with a strange heaviness in his chest. It wasn't sadness exactly. It was more like a quiet warning. The sun filtered through the blinds of his modest Chicago apartment, landing on framed photos lining the wall. His wife Alicia, their 10-year-old daughter Naomi, and their 6-year-old son Eli. The life he had built was not flashy, but it was solid, peaceful, earned. His phone buzzed. A text from his younger sister, Danielle. Don't forget. Big family dinner tonight. Mom says it's important. Malcolm sighed. Family dinners at his mother's house were rarely simple. His mother, Veronica Reed, loved surprises. She believed surprises brought people closer. Malcolm had learned, through years of experience, that her surprises often carried hidden consequences. Alicia stirred beside him. "You okay?" she asked softly. "Yeah," Malcolm lied. "Just my birthday." She smiled. "You don't sound excited." "I am," he said, forcing a grin. "I just have a feeling." She reached for his hand. "Whatever it is, we face it together." Malcolm nodded, unaware of how much those words would be tested before the night ended. Veronica Reed's house was already full when Malcolm and his family arrived that evening. Laughter spilled out onto the porch. Music played softly in the background. Old-school soul, the kind his father used to love before he passed away 15 years earlier. "Surprise!" someone shouted, even though Malcolm clearly knew there was a gathering. Relatives hugged him. Friends clapped him on the back. His mother kissed his cheek, eyes shining with pride. "My birthday boy," she said. 35. A man now. "I've been a man for a while, Mom," Malcolm joked. She laughed, but her eyes lingered on him in a way that made his skin prickle. Dinner was warm and loud. Naomi and Eli ran around with their cousins. Alicia helped in the kitchen. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. After dessert, Veronica stood and tapped her glass. "Everyone," she announced, "I have something special planned. A birthday gift Malcolm will never forget." The room grew quiet. Malcolm straightened in his chair. "Mom, you didn't have to." "Oh, hush," she said with a smile. "This is something you deserve." She nodded toward the hallway. "Bring him in." The man who walked into the living room was tall, dressed neatly in a gray jacket and dark jeans. He looked nervous, shifting his weight from foot to foot. Malcolm had never seen him before. Yet somehow, something felt familiar. "This," Veronica said proudly, "is Darius Hill." The name landed like a dropped plate. Malcolm frowned. "Okay." Veronica clasped her hands. "Darius is your brother." Silence crashed into the room. Alicia's breath caught. "What?" she whispered. Malcolm stood slowly. "That's not funny, Mom." "I'm not joking," Veronica said, her voice shaking. "Darius is your father's son. He's been looking for you for years." Malcolm laughed once, sharp, disbelieving. "My father died when I was 20. You expect me to believe he had another son and just forgot to mention it?" Veronica's eyes filled with tears. "I was protecting you." "From what?" Malcolm demanded. Darius cleared his throat. "I didn't come to cause trouble. I just wanted to meet my brother." Brother. The word felt foreign, heavy, unwanted. "This isn't a gift," Malcolm said quietly. "This is chaos." Later that night, after most guests had left, Malcolm confronted his mother in the kitchen. "How long did you know?" he asked. Veronica sat heavily in a chair. "Since before you were born." Malcolm stared at her. "You knew my whole life." "Your father had an affair," she confessed. "I stayed. I forgave him. But I couldn't raise another reminder of his betrayal." "So you erased him?" Malcolm snapped. "I thought it was best," she cried. "For you. For our family." Alicia watched quietly, holding Malcolm's arm. "And now," Malcolm asked. Why now? Veronica wiped her face. Because I'm tired of secrets. And because Darius needs family. That was when Malcolm realized the truth. This gift wasn't about him. Against his better judgment, Malcolm agreed to meet Darius one-on-one. They sat in a small cafe the next afternoon. Darius spoke first. I grew up in foster care, in and out of homes. I found my father's name on my birth certificate before he died. Too late to meet him. Malcolm listened, jaw tight. I'm not here for money, Darius added quickly. I have a job, a life. I just wanted connection. Malcolm looked at him closely. The resemblance was undeniable. The same eyes. The same jawline. I don't know how to be your brother, Malcolm said honestly. I didn't ask for this. I know, Darius replied softly. But neither did I. The weeks that followed were tense. Veronica pushed for bonding. Danielle embraced Darius immediately. Family group chats buzzed with excitement. Malcolm withdrew. Alicia noticed the change. You're angry all the time, she said one night. I feel invaded, Malcolm admitted. Like my whole childhood was a lie. And your mother? Alicia asked gently. I don't know if I trust her anymore. At work, Malcolm struggled to focus. At home, he snapped at the kids without meaning to. The weight of the unwanted gift pressed on every part of his life. Things exploded the day Darius showed up at Malcolm's house unannounced. Veronica had given him the address. I just wanted to see where you live, Darius said awkwardly. Malcolm stepped outside, shutting the door behind him. You can't just show up, Malcolm said sharply. I'm sorry, Darius replied. Your mom said. My mom doesn't speak for me, Malcolm snapped. The hurt on Darius's face was immediate. I'll go, he said quietly. As he walked away, guilt twisted in Malcolm's chest, but pride kept him silent. 2 months later, Veronica fell ill. Hospital room. Beeping machines. Regret hanging thick in the air. I'm sorry, she whispered to Malcolm. I handled everything wrong. Malcolm held her hand. Why did you give me this burden on my birthday? Because I was afraid, she admitted. Afraid I'd die with the truth still buried. Tears slipped down Malcolm's face. This gift broke me, he said. She nodded weakly. Sometimes truth hurts before it heals. Veronica recovered slowly. Malcolm made a decision. He invited Darius over, this time intentionally. Alicia cooked dinner. The kids were shy but curious. I don't promise closeness, Malcolm said to Darius. But I promise honesty. Darius smiled, eyes wet. That's more than I've ever had. Months passed. The anger softened. The questions remained, but so did effort. Malcolm realized something important. The gift he never wanted wasn't Darius. It was the truth. Truth that exposed his mother's flaws. Truth that challenged his idea of family. Truth that forced him to choose who he wanted to be. On his 36th birthday, Malcolm stood surrounded by his wife, his children, his sister, his mother, and Darius. Not perfect. Not simple. But real. Malcolm raised his glass. To the gifts we don't ask for, he said, voice steady, and the strength it takes to grow from them. And for the first time since that night, he meant it. The house felt different after Darius left that night. Not quieter, just heavier. Malcolm stood in the living room long after the door closed, staring at the space where Darius had stood. Alicia watched him from the kitchen doorway, saying nothing, giving him space the way only someone who truly loved you could. You didn't slam the door this time, she finally said. Malcolm exhaled slowly. I wanted to. But you didn't. No, he admitted. Because I realized something. Alicia waited. I've been punishing the wrong person. She stepped closer. And who do you think deserves that anger? Malcolm swallowed. My mother. And maybe my father. Not him. Alicia reached for his hand. That realization doesn't erase the hurt. I know, he said. But it changes what I do next. That night, Malcolm barely slept. Memories replayed differently now. His father's late nights, his mother's forced smiles, the tension he never understood as a child. The truth didn't rewrite his past. It reframed it. Veronica Reed hated hospitals. The smell. The sounds. The way time slowed inside those walls. Recovery forced her to sit with memories she'd spent decades burying. Danielle sat beside her bed, scrolling through her phone. Malcolm came by earlier. He didn't stay long. Veronica closed her eyes. I don't blame him. You hurt him, Mom. I know. Danielle hesitated. But you hurt Darius too. That one landed deeper. I thought keeping him away would make everything cleaner, Veronica whispered. Instead, I made a mess of everyone's life. You still can fix part of it, Danielle said gently. How? Veronica asked. By finally letting Malcolm lead instead of forcing outcomes. Veronica nodded slowly. Control had always been her weakness. Family opinions came fast once the truth became public. Aunties calling with unsolicited advice. Cousins debating blood versus loyalty. Group chats exploding with opinions Malcolm never asked for. One message stood out. Family is family. You can't reject your own. Malcolm stared at the screen, jaw tight. Alicia glanced over. You don't owe anyone access to your peace. But they act like I'm heartless, Malcolm replied. They act like they didn't live your life. At work, even his focus slipped. His supervisor pulled him aside. You good, Malcolm? Just family stuff. His boss nodded knowingly. That kind of stuff can break a man if he lets it. Malcolm smiled faintly. I'm trying not to. Darius didn't tell Malcolm everything at first. But one afternoon, during a walk by the river, the rest spilled out. I was angry when I found you, Darius admitted. Not at you. At life. Malcolm listened quietly. I thought, why does he get the family, the stability, the love? Malcolm stiffened but didn't interrupt. And then I met you, Darius continued, and realized, you didn't steal anything from me. You just lived what you were given. Malcolm nodded slowly. And I resented you for existing. They stopped walking. I don't need a brother who pretends, Darius said. I need honesty, even if it's uncomfortable. Malcolm looked at him. Then here's mine. I'm scared I'll fail you the way my parents failed us both. Darius smiled sadly. We already survived worse. Veronica tried too hard. Inviting Darius to family events without asking Malcolm. Suggesting shared holidays. Posting photos online captioned, My sons. Malcolm snapped when he saw it. This is not your redemption tour, he told her firmly. Tears welled in Veronica's eyes. I'm trying to make things right. You don't get to rush healing, Malcolm said. You lost that right when you chose silence. That night, Veronica deleted the post. It was the first time she truly stepped back. Alicia held everything together, until she couldn't. One night, after the kids were asleep, she broke down. I feel like I'm losing you, she said through tears. Malcolm froze. What? You're here, but you're not present, she said. Your pain is bleeding into our home. Guilt crushed him. I didn't mean to. I know, she interrupted softly. But I need my husband, not just a wounded son. Malcolm pulled her into his arms. I promise I'll do better. Healing wasn't just his responsibility. It was his marriage's survival. Malcolm visited his father's grave alone. I wish you'd told me, he said aloud. I wish you'd been braver. The wind answered him instead. For the first time, Malcolm allowed himself to be angry at the man he'd idolized. You left us with your mess, he whispered. And somehow, saying it aloud freed something inside him. Darius received a job offer out of state. He told Malcolm over coffee. I didn't want to leave without saying goodbye properly, Darius said. Malcolm felt the weight of it. Part of him felt relief. Another part felt loss. I don't want distance to be another excuse for disconnection, Malcolm said finally. Darius nodded. Then don't let it be. Malcolm stood. Stay for dinner tonight. With my family. Darius's eyes widened. You sure? Yes, Malcolm said. I'm choosing this on my terms. Dinner wasn't perfect. Eli asked too many questions. Naomi stared openly. Awkward silences stretched. But laughter came too. Real laughter. Alicia watched Malcolm carefully and smiled. Later that night, Naomi whispered, Daddy, Uncle Darius looks like you. Malcolm kissed her forehead. Yeah, he does. And he's nice. Malcolm nodded. He is. On Malcolm's 36th birthday, there were no surprises. Just intention. A small gathering. No speeches. No forced moments. Darius gave Malcolm a simple gift, a framed photo of the river where they first talked. On the back, it read, Not the brother you expected, but one who chose to stay. Malcolm swallowed hard. This was the birthday gift I never wanted, he said quietly to Alicia later, but it became the truth I needed. Alicia squeezed his hand. And you survived it. Malcolm looked around his home, his wife, his children, the complicated family he was learning to accept. No, he corrected gently. I grew from it.